so much, sir. Namaskar and very good afternoon to all the viewers of today. I'm Ankita Sharma. I'm a senior consultant in rehabilitation and forensic psychologist. Warmly welcome you all to this prestigious and wonderful knowledge sharing platform. Our topic for the day is stress management and resilience. And for the same, we have other three experts with me who are in the field of psychology who would enlighten us along with me on different aspects of stress and resilience. As an expert and professional in the field of psychology, when I was introduced to this platform, I was more than delighted because it's only because of such platforms that experts from various fields come together, which enlightens and empower people, which gives insight to the topics of the day, what are the concerns of today, what are the gaps, and how to fulfill these gaps, and what is the way forward to make this world a better place. So, with this idea and without taking much time, let me introduce myself to you again. I'm an RCI registered consultant psychologist. I've worked with a lot of government projects like Manodarpan under Ministry of Education, Government of India, which worked on and is still working to promote mental health of children and adolescents across the country, in which we have created a lot of guidelines and basically talks about the challenges of COVID and beyond. And when we are still working on that. Uh, there are other projects that I have worked on. To name a few, it is Ayushman Bharat, again under the Ministry of Human Resource and Development and Health and Family Welfare. I've also worked in Pariksha Parv by National Commission of Protection of Child Rights, and there are many projects in which I'm associated with. So I cannot, because we are short of time, so I cannot elaborate more. But there are other experts along with me. Our first expert is Dr. Tosendra Dwivedi, who is Associate Professor of Psychology in Jain University, Bangalore. Next, we have with us Ms. Roshni Grover, who is a freelance counselor who has worked with various organizations in the field of education and has been awarded by Center of Educational Development Foundation under category of Top Changemakers. Our next expert is Ms. Divya Manani, who is a corporate trainer, more than 4 years of experience in the domain of corporate coaching, employee wellness, mental health advocacy, and stress management. So now we go to the discussion, which is on stress and resilience. So whenever we talk about stress or whenever we hear about stress, we start to feel it. Oh, we're talking about stress. We start to experiencing it, and I've observed myself that, whenever there are discussions on this or whenever I want to openly talk about stress in the families and with the families, when I see children, when I see adolescents and they come to me, families are not ready to talk about it. They say that, ma'am, as soon as you talk about stress, you feel stressed, right? So we need to understand that the word stress itself isn't stressful at all. And to talk around stress or to talk about stress, it is not stressful. And in fact, it is important that we acknowledge it and we learn to identify it first. And that to identify those, I would say, those early red flag signs or early signs, those little symptoms that we see. And if not many symptoms, and even if the small symptoms, the category of symptoms that we see, we should identify it as parents, as teachers, as counselors, as peer leaders, as peer educators. We need to identify those signs so that we can address it. Moreover, it is also important to understand that stress is very normal. It's a day-to-day reaction of individuals. So experiencing stress is essential for our everyday, day-to-day routine work, our motivation that we require to carry out the tasks, the basic, the sense of encouragement we need and we feel to do or complete the task. So that is stress. And that stress is not at all stressful because that stress, is also called eustress. So just imagine, just as an example, imagine how a child cannot feel or cannot experience stress. If the child has to go to an examination, how can I not have stress if there's an important event ahead of me? How can I not have stress when I know that there's an important interview aligned? So these are the situations. It is very normal to experience stress, or you may call it stress. So only when you know how important the task is or how relevant it is, you would think about it. You would strategize about it. And this entire process in itself is challenging. And when I say that, it is challenging, it is because it requires a lot of inner resources. you know for example, if a child will have stress, only when a child will have stress, he will muster the courage, to go to the exam and do self talk, encourage himself or herself to perform better, just recall that what he knows, and work on the strengths, and just how, and also work on what are my gray areas in which I have to work on. Maybe at this moment I do not have to think about what my gray areas are, because there's a challenging task ahead of me, so I need to perform better. So it's better that I focus on what is required of me and what are my strengths. But to in order to understand, in order to do this self talk, I also need to be self aware, which we neglect because we don't want to address topics like these, right? So, according to the situation, stress can be both positive or negative. When I say positive, it's of course the amount of, or when I say that optimal stress, the amount of stress which is required for me to, which is required for me to move, to go ahead, to push myself. That is eustress, which of course we will experience. The next category, of stress, is something which kind of not enables us. It's the opposite of it. It kinds of drains our energy. It kinds of it lets us question our own abilities. And because of that, we end up not not liking the task itself, not having the motivation to do it, not liking, why are we in this situation, why, I may not have, or I may question my own abilities, I may not be right for it. There are so many better individuals. You may comparing yourself with others, without understanding that, your strengths, your resources are very different from that of the other person, right? So it's important that we look into stress and we talk more about the stress, not from a negative connotation but a positive one. And thereon start to look at the stress from a solution oriented perspective, like how should we regulate our own behavior, and even as adults, how we have to regulate our own emotions. Imagine we as adults, it at times, we face situations, we face challenges, and as adults, at times we feel that okay, we may not do it. So imagine children, how would they do it? So we need to equip them, we need to train them, and when I say training, it means we need to train them on life skills. We need to focus on more on life skills, those essential skills which are required for our children to be more self-aware, to focus on problem solving skills, their analytical skills, their critical thinking skills. Those aspects we need to sharpen. We need to focus more on that, so that ultimately they become more resilient, and of course, they become resilient in their lives, so that they are more empowered. They feel more happy in their lives, because that is the primary goal of even this discussion, right? So having said that, having talked about the stress, what really happens next what really happens is, for example, if I'm feeling stressed, what is my reaction if I'm not able to regulate my emotion, or my feelings? What will I do? I will start to react. Now reaction is different. When I say that I'll react, so as soon as the situation comes, I'm just reacting what is coming to my mind, without giving a thought to it. Like I will show anguish, I will show anger, I will show rage, you know and so much so that, if anybody, any third person looks at my behavior, or a person who's showing, or is reacting to situations, they may quickly say that, okay, is this person is experiencing stress, or this person is so much stressed, what has happened? For instance, so many road rage is happening these days. And even when you go on drive, and if at times you take wrong cuts, or if the other person is taking a wrong cut, how would you react? I mean, you suddenly, people reacted with so much of rage and anguish, that which is not appropriate to situation. Why are you so much, reacting with so much of anger, which is not required? We can neglect, we can ignore certain, reactions or certain behavior of the other person, and we can also forgive. But why are we not doing that? That means that there is some amount of stress which is inside us, which is not addressed, which is not acknowledged. And so much so, and to a point, and which has come to a point where we are just reacting to even normal situations, which doesn't require such amount of anger, such amount of aggression, right? Because of that, just at our day-to-day lives, and when you look around, even if you don't look around, you see the statistics. Let's just go by the statistics. So many, the percentage of youth, is moving to, alcohol, smoking, and taking drugs. So what is the reason? What is the reason? Not only adults, and I'm not stating that it's only the adults, it's the youth as well. The youth, the young population of our country are resorting to, cigarettes, to illegal drugs. And these illegal drugs are available in the market readily. Readily. So you go to every nook and corner, there are places, and we all know it, where, these drugs are available. And we are seeing the conditions in so many states of our country. We're seeing these states in not only Delhi, in metropolitan cities, we're also seeing it, in northeast states. We're seeing that in Punjab. Punjab, of course, we all know, because of movies like Urta Punjab, it has become so popular that yes, it is prevalent. But not only in movies, I have seen cases myself in the center, where people from Punjab, families from Punjab, are coming to Delhi, are coming to Jaipur, to me, to many other clinics, my fellow mates, to address this concern, and specifically, dealing with drugs. And why is this happening? We need to address that. Is this just stress, which is being unaddressed, or it is something else? It is something more. There's something. Is there a neglect? Are we neglecting our children at the schools, in the families, or what is it? We need to identify that. So now, quickly, just look into the flag signs of stress. Now that we have talked about stress in general, let's just also look at certain flag signs, which we see in children, or people in general. So now, when you experience stress, you would say that, you would see in individuals who are stressed, they would generally be withdrawn. They're feeling isolated, and they don't want to interact, or have food, or with family, or don't want to interact with the family, like what they usually do in the normal course of their daily lives. They feel irritable for no actual reason. Difficulty in sleeping, change in mode all of a sudden, which was not earlier. And this change in mode is really important, flag sign, which you will see. So the first thing that you will see an individual who is stressed, and or maybe in distress, it would be change in mode. The person may seem lost, other than the usual days. For example, you may see the person staring at something, maybe looking at the sky, and for no reason, and for a long period of time, unable to focus on what is required, like, on the tasks in hand, and like studies in general, or what is happening at my job. And this is happening for over a week. Also remember that any symptom, that I've just shared, if any of the symptom is for a prolonged period, for maybe a prolonged period, when I say that, it means even if it is lasting for and it is happening for more than 5 6 days, and you're seeing that there's a change in behavioral pattern, then it becomes very, very important to take an opinion, to take an opinion of an expert, to consult a counselor first. If you are in school, then you need to consult a counselor. Go to your school counselor, share your concerns, share your problems. Now there are systems in schools. There are peer leaders programs that are happening in school, that are facilitated by counselors, school counselors. So you may go to your peer leader, you may go to your peer educator and talk about it. It's important to talk about the problem and seek help. And the basic idea to talk about your problem is not, many a times, why I'm saying that, you should talk about your problem, because many times I've seen that, often people, and in fact even adults, saying this, if you talk about your problem, either you're magnifying it, or either, you are letting the world know that, you're weak, which is not so. if you're letting the world out know that, okay, I am facing this problem, I'm not able to deal with it, you're the most
Yeah.
courageous person. So you need to look at it from that perspective, and you need to regain. Your focus should not be on the people. Your focus should be on seeking help to regain that strength, to regain that self confidence, right? And that motivation to get back on the work, to get back on your studies, and to improve and care. And most important is care about your own well being. We don't care about our well being. We just care about our studies or the tasks in hand, but we really neglect our physical, emotional, and mental health. So when we prioritize our mental health, we need to know, we would know that, okay, what we have to do and what not, what's good for me and what's not. If I'm thinking too much, let me stop that. If I'm having a sedentary lifestyle, I need to rework on that. And therefore, as parents, as teachers, as educators, as leaders, if there's any change in behavior that you're observing in your family members, in your child, you should identify those signs, and as early as possible address them. Try to identify them and then address them. Take the opinion of the experts. So moving ahead, I would like to take the opinion. I would like Dr. Tosendra Dwivedi to talk more about stress and the signs. What else? What more signs can you see? Because I'm sure that since you're working in universities, and you have a rich experience of working in universities, sir. So I'm sure the flag signs of the stress might be a little different. Might be, if not different, then the way the youth is showing their stress or their aggression may be a little different from that of children or adolescents or under 18. So
Yeah,
can you please elaborate?
yeah, thank you so much.
Over to
And
you.
namaste, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to everyone, all the viewers of Changemaker20 event, whichever part of the world you are. I wish you stress-free and happy life. So, as very nicely put up by Ankita madam, a very renowned rehabilitation psychologist and a counselor, I would elaborate upon that. First of all, the definition of stress is a condition in which your self-adequacy, quote unquote, within inverted comma, your self-adequacy gets disturbed first. I hope I'm audible clearly. I hope my voice is okay. So
Yes.
stress is a condition in which your self-adequacy is challenged. For example, if I have to go to airport and I require decently 1 hour time, and I have just half an hour time, the clock gets ticking. Our self-adequacy is challenged, and we feel stressed. The stress red signs can extend from person to person. Some people feel palpitation, some people feel stomach discomfort, some people start getting meals, some people start sweating, all these things. So normal stress we all feel, as Angita ma'am has nicely said, and normal stress enhances our performance, which we call as stress. But yes, if stress continues for a long time, if the stress continues for a very long time, then definitely we should take care. We should seek rehabilitation counselor or psychologist, because invariably it's going to disturb our mental health and our habits, our daily working, our food habits, our efficiency at the workplace, etc. So I would say stress, of course, to some extent initially is fine. In the exam, if the students do not have stress, they won't give their best. But if it gets on your nerves so that it starts affecting your daily life, it starts affecting your routine, it starts affecting your bowel movements and eating habits, so much so that you cannot get rid of that feeling. It's a sign to seek professional help by some corporate trainer like Divya madam, or a school counselor. If the kid is suffering from school at the school level, I would say it's time to take help from Roshni madam, who's the school counselor here in the panel, or Ankita madam. So these are my quick things. Severe stress, chronic stress, along for a long time, may lead to a lot of psychosocial issues like depression, anxiety, arthritis, gastric, and lot of psychosomatic stress is the result of prolonged, uncontrollable, unchecked stress and living with it. So this was my quick response to the definition of stress. Ankita madam, would you like me to elaborate on any other aspect of it?
Often, quite often, when we see so many expert sessions specifically that focuses on children and adolescents, we have often focused, the experts have often focused on the role of life skills in improving the well-being of our children. What do you think? What is the role of life skills? In university students. Let's just now,
Yeah, yeah,
connect that. If for instance, when we were in school, so I'm just getting back, in my school days, there was no concept of life skills
yeah,
as
yeah,
such. That was taught to us. Especially there was no designated classes of life skills, and as opposed to what is happening in school, which is so good. Our students are getting equipped. They know that how they can deal. At least they know that this is my good network, and these are my resources, whom I can connect with.
yeah.
What's happening
Yeah,
in the
I
at the
got it.
university
I
level
got
that
it. That
we
is a very good
don't want?
question you have asked, Ankita ma'am. Yes, definitely. That's life skill is incredible to manage stress so that आप अस्त और व्यस्त ना रहें, आप मस्त रहें. You go with the flow of life. You take stress like a daily food, drink, and other things, and you're not perturbed, right? So yes, that's why World Health Organization and UNESCO has specially recommended life skill training to the school students here in Jain University, Bangalore. We have a paper on life skills, so as to cope and equip the students, inculcate those habits in them to fight stress. So some of the life skill I can say, which may help the students to avoid stress or to cope with this. First is communication skill. Your problem is never your problem. The way you react to the life situation or others' problem, that becomes your stress and problem. So definitely communication should be response oriented. Now there are two terms, reaction and response. Most of our stress is the result of reaction. If someone yelled at us, we yelled back. If someone has used lewd language, we also use. And this results into a vicious cycle of negativity, unending cycle leading to a lot of stress. Adolescents suffer from premature hair fall and graying of the skin, different disorders, thinking continuously, breakups, and all those things leading to chronic stress. Right? Why reactions? So we should train the students about communication, empathetic communication, particularly response oriented. What is response? Taking the ownership of your communication. Whatever other person is talking, I'm least bothered, but my communication will contribute towards harmony, towards solution. I take responsibility of my communication, no matter howsoever other is reacting. If this happens, thousands of stress can be avoided. So one of this communication skill, which is a very important life skill to be trained. Next, some of the life skills to cope with this stress is prioritization. One should manage time. As said by Paramveer Chakra Vijeta, Captain Vikram Batra, you have to rule your clock, otherwise the clock rules you. You have to rule your clock. Clock. If the exam is approaching, be proactive, manage things, and don't procrastinate and postpone things, because it is every day procrastinating and adding on to a lot of stress you are feeling. So one has to be time bound and proactive. Of course, time management, and of course, if you cannot avoid any place, it's better to leave or change the context. One should be a withdrawer. इस अफसाने को अंजाम तक लाना न हो मुमकिन, उसे एक खूबसूरत मोड़ देके छोड़ना अच्छा. It's better to leave that place for the time being or the context for the time being. For example, if you're in your family, there is a chronic stress which you can't avoid. Getting a respite, changing a place of living, changing a place, context of working for some time, or changing that school for some time, or taking a break is not a bad option to manage stress. Then of course there should be assertiveness training. Lot of students sit silently and suffer. There are cases of incest where the girls are silent and just for the sake of family's honor they are keeping mum. One should be told to at the school and university level about good touch, bad touch, and they should be genuinely and gently able to say stop. No. So there should be assertiveness training, which is another life skill. There should be coping strategies like friends or socialization. One should be able to make healthy friends, trustworthy friends. If you have a good friends, 50% of the stress can be combated, so that you can try out whatever poison you are consuming daily. There has to be a routine. Your routine is the best thing. There should be a fixed waking up time, sleeping time, me time, or recreation time. There should be, of course, good time for exercise and all. So one should also learn distortions. We do not understand ourselves because we keep on feeding those things which which makes all the bad chemicals like cortisol and all release during emergency. We should learn the art of distraction. Distract yourself into some good friend, good chat, good communication, or some good movie or gardening or hobbies. Learn the art of distraction if you want to avoid stress, combat stress. Of course, if you don't have any hobby, then it's good to do some household work. At least you will have a respite. कि हाँ, मैंने आज today I've cleaned my toilet. So you can cook also. If you are a lady, some ladies, you can release your pent up feeling by washing clothes, not by machine but by hand, and release the stress. Eventually, you are basically getting the things out of your system. You can clean your car, or you can make some change in the ambience or the place where you are having stress. Right, exercise is the must do in recipe for the stress, because it releases natural dopamine, oxytocin, and other positive chemicals which help you remain calm in the face of biggest stress. If you are continuously exercising, exercise doesn't mean taking a mobile and playing just by your this. Exercise means there should be thumping and pumping of heart, there should be flow of blood, there should be stretching, there should be squats and push-up, etc. Right? Divya ma'am, our corporate trainer, has do a lot of sessions. I've seen her in action, and that's why she's smiling. Okay, so of course, one should also learn how to meditate. Indian training of yoga, etc., let you be at ease even in the most perturbed phase of life. Even so, one should learn the art of meditating and relaxation. There should be a positive self-talk. Early in the morning, there should be a gratitude training. Give gratitude to your mother, father, gurus, and all those who have made a positive difference in your life, and you'll find a lot of blessings coming in. There should be, of course, value clarification and decision making. If the matter is related to your heart or close friends or your assets, you can decide it from heart. If the matter is professional, where your mental peace is disturbed, decide it by mind. So I think all these skills, if applied under some trained counselor like Divya Manani madam or Ankita madam or Roshni madam, of course these can be learned, and stress will be the matter of past. No matter the biggest havoc happen in your life, you won't be perturbed. It will be, yes, concerned, but you will be winning over it. You will be containing it. You won't be perturbed, disturbed, or scattered by it. So I think these are some of the life skill I can immediately think upon. Along with that, definitely you should do some selfless work, because we are not known for what we have taken from our gurus, the society, our mother, father. We become immortal by what we have delivered. If we can heal someone, if we can make someone laugh, if we have provided food to some needy person, or if we have given blood donation, or if we have taught some assets, some good students, they become your asset. They become your trustworthy assets. The more trustworthy assets are close students, friends, and people you have in your life, the stress will be away from you. That's my assurance to all the viewers seeing this show. Thank you very much, Ankita madam, for giving me this opportunity, and thank you viewers for listening me. I'm very keen to follow the another two great speakers, corporate trainer Divya Manani madam and Roshni madam, who has a big experience in the school counseling and mental health. So over to you, Divya, Ankita ma'am.
So, thank you so much for enlightening, on life skills and the role of life skills, in university students. That link is really important, and you have given very good insights on that. Moving ahead, Miss Roshni has we know that she has immense experience in school counseling. I would like to ask, Roshni, since I really work closely with school counselors. When it comes to, addressing mental health concerns in school, is there any stigma that you also face? And is
Okay.
that also a stress to you
Okay.
as well as
So
students?
first of all, I would like to really thank Tosendra sir and you for stating such beautiful points in front of the whole audience. So I have experience with school counseling. So what I have seen is that students are facing a lot of challenge with expressing their emotions. They have a hard time expressing themselves because they know they have this fear inside them that nobody is there to understand their feelings and emotions. So if they feel the connect with the person who's sitting in front of them, they'll open up. They'll have no time in opening up themselves. So what I've seen so far, if you make a child comfortable, if you make a child free to talk, he and she will be ready to communicate. So I feel the bond should be there between the parent and the child, teacher and the child, so that they know, they should feel that they are secure and comfortable in speaking their thoughts and emotions. So this is what I feel is a hard time explaining to students, because since the day I started working in the school, I started interacting with students so that they feel comfortable and feel open to communicate with me. So what I sense so far is that if they feel that the person is ready to understand and guide them in the right way, they'll be open to communicate.
Yeah.
Apart from this, I feel that they don't know how to handle those emotions. They have a hard time understanding, if they are aggressive, they don't know how to take it out. They don't know the ways to deal with that. So for that, I used to take classes. I used to guide them the ways they should either, the way they can, balance out their emotions and everything. We every week we used to do an activity. Every week we used to go out in the field and discuss, group discussions, and followed by a lot of sessions with individual students. I used to do that. So that really helped students in the long run. And side by side, me also, it helped me also to come in touch with my emotions and how the ways I should be handling it myself.
So
I would like
thank you
to
so much,
add. I would like to add,
Divya.
Ankita ma'am, if you allow me quickly. Yeah, Divya ma'am, Roshni ma'am, it was a wonderful insight. Along with that, at the school level, basic school level, I think there should be education training, assertiveness training for the students, because many students sit and sulk in isolation. So they should be
Yes.
promoted to talk to their counselor like you. They should
Yes.
be taught about good touch and bad touch. They should be more vocal and articulate. So
Yes.
communication skill is very prominent. And yes, of course. Yes, go ahead. That was one thing I wanted to add. Ankita ma'am, over to you again.
Thank you so much, Ms. Roshni, for highlighting these key points. And as you rightly said,
Yeah.
communication and interaction is the key. And most importantly, you said it very rightly, and it is often missed. That
Yes.
that bond and relationship between
Yes.
parent and the child and the teacher, and also between the children, like between their peers. So when we have these things in place, I think they'll be more or they may
Definitely.
become more resilient, because then they would know that whom they
Yes.
have to contact, because many a times this link is missed. Children don't know, and as you said, they don't know what to do. you know and because they don't know what to
Yeah.
do, they don't talk about it,
It
and they feel
it is
confused, leads
not
to confusion.
sorry to interrupt, sorry, but the thing is, it is not just with the students, it is for the parents also. So what I see is that if they are not aware, they don't know themselves the how to handle these emotions, so they pass on the same things to the coming generations and everything. So for that, they need to be aware, like how to handle and how to balance out different stresses of life.
I would like to further compliment that why students or why people do not come to the parents, because once the daughter or son is grown up, it's better to have treat them like a friends. Unless and until you are friends, the girl won't be talking about who's stalking her. The boy won't be talking about whom he's having a crush or how his night is disturbed. So friendship, as Chanakya has also said, when the daughter and son are of the same age, they should be treated like friend and once. And that's why I treat my students as my buddies and friends once they are grown up. So all like that was one input. Ankita ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir, and thank you so much, Ms. Roshni, for highlighting such beautiful points. Moving ahead with Ms. Divya, who's a corporate trainer. Divya, I would like to know. I mean, we all of us would like to know, since you work in corporates, and the culture as we see it, it seems harsh, because it's more on the success. The focus is on every project has to be successful, or you should be 10 on 10 on each and everything. So there's so much of pressure on being 10 on 10 on each and every aspect, and I'm sure you must be seeing this. I'm unsure that how many people come to counselors in the corporates to report their problems, which of course we'll get to know through you. But what are those concerns that you're seeing in the corporates, and how do you build resilience, and how do you, what do you suggest specifically to the young population in the corporates, because these are the ones who are coming from premier institutes, so the ones who are coming from IITs, IIMs, top notch institutes. And even these individuals, when they succumb to pressure, when they succumb to stress, that's painful, that's really painful. How do you see that?
For asking this wonderful question. Thank you, Dr. Tosendra and Miss Roshni, for your insights here. Now, when you have asked this wonderful question, I would like to break it in three parts. The first is what exactly corporate stress is. So these days, where all of us are addressing, adolescents, we are addressing children, but there is a stress which has already been passed on to our generation and above us. So that is where corporate stress comes up. Now, corporate stress is often referred as workplace stress. Now, where does this stress actually comes from? So first thing is when the workload is too much. So when there is heavy workloads, when there is tight deadlines, the stress comes in. Apart from that, when you're hired for a position and you know what to do, but all of a sudden there is role ambiguity. You're not aware of what is the clear expectation from the manager or from the employer who has hired you. Again, the stress pops in. Apart from that, there is limited autonomy. Now just imagine a workplace where your decisions does not play any role, where your creativity is not being addressed. At that point of the time, again, you start questioning yourself. You start questioning, am I good enough? At that point of the time, again, stress pops in. Now, coming up to interpersonal conflicts. There have been times where I have seen there is a lot of bullying that happens in corporate world as well. Bullying in terms of their performance, bullying in terms of the caste, bullying in terms of a lot of other things that comes in. And again, because of this interpersonal conflict, the stress comes in. With that, coming up to another important point, that is high expectations. When your manager or your employer has too many high expectations, you start expecting those things from yourself. And when you start expecting those things from yourself and you set unrealistic goals for yourself, again, stress pops in. And finally, there are two things which are very, very important, which actually induces stress in corporates is first, job insecurity. These days we are hearing about layoffs. Google has laid off. Microsoft has laid off. Facebook has laid off. So many employers have been laying off employees from their company. And because of this scenario, again, stress comes in. And finally, when there is no work-life balance, again, the stress comes comes into the employees. So this is how stress actually comes in corporate world. Now, when I'm talking about stress over here, the second question which you had bring in was resilience. Now, when we are talking about resilience, like we are all aware that resilience is a power for you to bounce back from a situation. Now, any trainee or any employer comes into the organization and is resilient enough, has those resilient skills in them, they are able to handle the situations better. Now, how do we do that? We do by giving counseling sessions. Yes, in corporates, people do come for counseling. They're quite open about what they are feeling, because these individuals, of course, they are coming from IITs, they are coming from IIMs, they are coming from top-notch colleges, and even if they are not coming from tier 1 or tier 2 colleges, they're well aware of their rights over there, because in the induction itself, such counseling sessions and programs are being introduced to them. So with that, we also introduce a lot of emotional well-being training programs. There are a lot of other training programs that is being introduced to them. And once the resilience is being built in these employers, we help them to learn how to actually cope with their workloads, how to actually adapt to change, how they can handle their interpersonal conflict. It's been there have been studies which has shown that the people who are more resilient, have better relationships with their managers and also people in their surrounding when they are in their workplace, and also outside that. Apart from that, they are able to manage pressure, able to manage their deadlines. With that, they always have positive mindset. And finally, like I said, the work life balance is always balanced. And when we are talking about work life balance, I would also like to quickly give few highlights on how actually we can have that work life balance, because when we all are talking about work life balance, we actually don't know how can we actually do that. And when we know that when we can do, how we can do that, sometimes we just avoid it. So the very first thing when we are talking about work life balance which is required to be done is to set clear boundaries. And when I'm talking about clear boundaries, if you have decided that you are going to log in at 10 o'clock and you're going to log out at 6 o'clock, you have to make sure that is being passed on to your manager, that is being passed to your superior, and after 6 o'clock, it's your personal time. You're not checking your mails, you're not checking your Slack messages, you're not checking other things which is related to your work. You're logging off completely to enjoy that personal time of yours. Second thing would be prioritize and plan. If I would have been younger Divya, and one thing which I would want my teachers and people in school to make me learn should be how I can prioritize and plan, because this is the most important thing that should be there. If you don't know how to prioritize, you will be workloaded. You would not know which direction to lead into, right? So prioritize and plan accordingly, not just your professional life, but also personal life. We are all aware that we should prioritize our work, but no one talks about how to prioritize and plan your personal life. Every day, decide, okay, 1 hour, this is my hour for me to learn ukulele, for me to learn this instrument. You have to prioritize, you have to plan. So make sure that you do that. Apart from that, most important thing, which again that younger Divya or that younger child in me would want to learn, and in that early stages of my life, would be learn to say no. Very important thing, which all of us in this today's world have forgotten, that we need to say no. Being this adamant is okay, because your plate is already full. You cannot add more and justify your performance. So learn to say no and delegate and collaborate. You have to understand that sometimes it's okay to seek help, sometimes it's okay to pass on your work, but make sure you help the other person as well. So delegate and collaborate. Take regular breaks. Even if you're working every day, you're sitting in front of your laptop, make sure you shut it down for some time. You take a walk, you are in the nature, you're breathing well, or even if you don't want to get up, just close your eyes and understand where are you, what are you feeling right now. Do you really want to work? If you don't want to work, then take rest for that day. And finally, one thing which I have seen, people working very hard and not going for vacations, not taking that paid time off. What are you gonna do? You might achieve great titles right now, but what about your health? If you are achieving those great titles right now, what is left for future then? Your health is already being questioned, right? So even at that age where you should be enjoying your retirement or enjoying your old age, you're already with so many diseases in your body because of stress, because you were not resilient enough, because you never learned how to say no, because you did not go for vacations, which you should do right now. So always take time off from your work, and that will actually help you to maintain a better work-life balance.
Oh,
That's it from my end. I
fabulous
hope
inputs, Divya ma'am. I would like to tell the viewers certain more things for any chronic stress you are feeling. First thing, there should be a meaning or purpose in your life, whatever it may be. It can be professional goal, it can be writing a book, it can be finding a partner, it can be getting. There should be purpose. Second thing, never let the child in you die. Keep on making others laugh and smile. Keep on cracking jokes. Keep on making friends. This will let you be resilient always. And third thing, of course, is work is worship. If you are too much stressed, focus upon the work at hand. Because of which, if you cannot sleep, you have a sleepless night, make best use of that night by working on something, right? It's stress is like a bouncer ball. Either you tweak it and make best use of it, and you hit six, or you blow your face. It all depends on how you take stress, right? So the best use, if you are under too much chronic stress, if you cannot do anything, work. Make best use of this bouncer ball, tweak it a little, and you will see that your resilience is coming like anything. And of course, the final say I would say to manage stress is believe in God. Believe in God. Just like the dog believes in his owner and he becomes more resilient. If you have a belief in God and Almighty that if I'm good, my intentions and attitude are good will come to me. You will get a lot and lot of well-wishers taking care of your resilience, mental health and stress, like Ankita ji, like Roshni ji, like Divya ji and all. And very soon I'm very much motivated by taking breaks. So I'm planning a break to Jaipur, Rajasthan to a well-wisher, and also a break to Delhi in someone's marriage soon. Thank you so much, Divya ji.
Wonderful, sir. Good to hear that. Good to hear that.
All right. So over to you, Ankita ji. Would you like to, what would you instruct us to do?
Thank you so much, sir, and thank you so much, Divya, for those are strategies that you have just mentioned. In the corporates, that they will. I think they are so applicable at the school and the college level also. So and they were so they were so right. I mean, if you focus on taking breaks, small little things and small changes in life, and focusing more on our well-being. If we shift our focus from the outside world to our inner self, I think little change, will do a lot, will help us a lot. So that was really wonderful of you, Divya, for sharing your thoughts. And of course, stress is part of our lives, and it will always be. But that doesn't mean you have to let it impact you negatively. So that was the key, and thank you so much, everyone. And I would like Dr. Tosendra Dwivedi to conclude today's
Yeah,
session.
thank you so
So over
much.
to
And
you.
I'm actually spellbound to hear such a wonderful thoughts by Divya ma'am and Roshni ma'am, who's a school counselor. Roshni ma'am has helped me out counsel a lot of students. And of course, Ankita madam, thank you so much for your insightful session.